Call to order the meeting of the Mayor and Council, Borough of River Edge, January 24th, 2022, regular meeting at 6 p.m. I ask us for a moment of silent reflection, and then we will do the pledge. During our moment of silent reflection, let us remember all police officers throughout the United States who give of their time, their energy, their service, and especially those who have given the final and commitment to service in New York City and the corporal in the Midwest. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Statement of compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act. This meeting complies with the Open Public Meeting Act by notification on January 7th and January 21st of this location, date, and time to the Town News and the Record, and by posting of the same on the Municipal Bulletin Board and the Borough website, filing a notice of the same with the Municipal Clerk. I'll call a roll call. I think that'll be easier for you. Okay. Council President Kaufman.
Here.
Councilwoman Bastide.
Here.
Councilman Canigo.
Here.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen.
Here.
Councilwoman Kinsella.
Here.
Councilwoman Malari.
Here.
All right, good. And we're all here, right? Yes. Good. Okay. So first on the docket or the agenda is Resolution 22-61, authorization of the promotion of Michael McGinty to the position of lieutenant. So we're going to move both promotions separately, and then we'll have the swearing in. All right? So could I have a motion and a second for Michael McGinty, position of lieutenant?
So moved. Second.
All right. Councilwoman Bastide.
Yes.
Councilman Canigo.
Yes.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella.
Yes.
Councilwoman Melinari.
Yes.
Very good. Okay. Approved unanimously. Next, we'll move Resolution 22-62, authorize the promotion of Joseph Staros to the position of lieutenant. Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilwoman Bastide.
Yes.
Councilman Canigo.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella.
Yes.
Councilwoman Malari.
Yes.
All right. It's been unanimously approved. Lieutenant McGinty, would you please come up with your family? All right, why don't we put you right here? Okay, and, oh, you have a Bible? Wonderful. Great, come on over here. And over here, great. And I'm going to stand off to the side a little bit, all right? All right. And it's a little bit tight where we have all the patrol officers and sergeants stand behind. Could we move you guys forward a little bit? And could we ask our men and women in blue to come and stand behind? And if we have any guest officers, they're also welcome. All right. Please repeat after me. Please raise your right hand and left hand on the Bible. Please repeat after me. I, say your name,
I, Michael McGinty,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I
and that I
will bear true faith
will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the government
and to the government
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I state your name,
I, Michael McGinty,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties as a lieutenant
perform all the duties as a lieutenant
of the River Edge Police Department
of the River Edge Police Department
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Lieutenant, one last thing, Lieutenant.
Sorry. Is this some original?
Yes.
It's in my name. I'll get the money. It's just a bill for dinner later.
Today is the 24th.
Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mayor.
That's all right.
Made her date.
Lieutenant Staros, if you'd come up with your family members, please. And yes, if you could do that, please. And you all three can hold it while he, okay, wonderful. Okay, left hand on the Bible, right hand. I state your name,
I, Joseph Starost,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United
of
States
the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I
and that I
will bear true faith and allegiance
will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the government established
and to the government established
in the United
in
States
the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I state your name,
I, Joseph Starost,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties as a lieutenant
perform all the duties as lieutenant
of the River Edge Police Department
of the River Edge Police Department
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Casualty. 24th. All right, Chief, Cap, would you like to say a few words? If you do, would you take center?
It's always a good day when we have promotions. We're getting that much closer to fulfilling our table of organization, with obviously much thanks to the mayor and council to move things along. We'll be going right into the sergeants. I couldn't be prouder of these guys. They're deserving of it, and I know they're gonna do a great job as part of our team, the whole team, and we're just looking forward to going forward as we are. Good job, everybody. Thank you.
We have a motion to temporarily adjourn the meeting. We will reconvene in about 15 minutes remotely, but we are very, very proud of Sergeant Staros and Lieutenant Staros and Lieutenant McGinty. They will make a great addition to our command staff, and we are grateful for their service, as well as the service of all the men and women in blue. Could I have a motion to temporarily adjourn?
So moved.
Second? Okay, it's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? All right, thank you all, and if you'd like to stay and take pictures, you're more than welcome to. I call back into order the meeting of the mayor and council, January 24th, regular meeting. Roll call.
I'll do the roll call since Anne hasn't logged in yet. Councilmember Bastide,
Here.
Councilmember Kanigo,
Here.
Councilmember Kaufman,
Here.
Councilmember Kinsella,
Here.
Councilmember Malalari,
Here.
Councilmember Montesano Cohen. I see Lisa, but I think she's frozen.
Give her a moment.
Okay. Mayor Papaleo,
Here. Okay, she seems to have left, and hopefully she'll be back in a moment. We'll give her a moment.
Sorry,
Okay.
everyone. I got kicked out of Zoom.
So do you want to call that roll again? Was it?
Councilmember Montesano Cohen,
Here.
All right. So we are up to agenda item 6. We're also moved for discussion. We've added to the agenda 8E, 310 Wales fence replacement. So let's move forward with that. So the minutes, we have, we're gonna move these as a group. If you need to abstain from any of them or vote no, please name the one you're abstaining from or voting no for, and then vote for that one separately when your name is called. Okay, so approve the minutes of the mayor and council regular meeting of December 13th, 2022. Approve the minutes of the mayor and council special meeting of December 15, 2022. Approve the minutes of the mayor and council Sine Die meeting of January 3rd, 2022. And approve the minutes of the mayor and council reorganization meeting of January 3rd, 2022.
So moved.
Did
Second.
we have a second? Because I didn't hear it.
Second.
Excellent. It's been moved and seconded. It is not debatable. If we can call the roll and give each council member a time to state whether they're voting yes or no for all or some, and if they wish to abstain from any. Okay.
Councilmember Bastide,
Yes.
Councilmember Kanigo,
Yes.
Councilmember Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilmember Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilmember Malalari,
Yes.
Councilmember Montesano Cohen.
Yes.
Okay. So we have proclamations and awards, and we'll get to that next. Okay, so we have certificates. Let me get them out. Okay. And will any member of council be reading the names into the record, or are you going to leave that up to me? All right, I think that will probably be left up to me, given our current status. All right, so we're going to do the best we can. Certificates of recognition to the Riverdale flight team winners. All right, are we moving them in if we could? All
Yes,
right,
we are.
great. And I think what we'll do is I'll do by age. So I will begin with Riverdale flight team winners. No, we'll have to do Yes, they're all flight team winners. Great. So I'm going to begin with the girls 9 and under. All right. Okay, is Coach David Del Coro, Joseph Gordier, and Aaron Huzumi, are they present? Yes, I see Joe at least. I hope the others are here. All right.
Yes, Mayor.
Hey, we're here.
We're here.
Okay, so we have these certificates. They may not show up on the computer. Yeah, they do. And so we're going to have to ask you to stop by Borough Hall and the clerk's office to get your certificate. So we're going to begin with the Riverdale Black Hawks EB flight team girls 9 and under. The girls went undefeated this season at 10-0. They scored 52 goals while only giving up 6 all season. Next up for this impressive group are trophies and a flight promotion to the spring season. Well, wonderful. So I'm going to read through the certificate and then I'm going to read the names. Please be patient with me. If I say your name slightly wrong, I apologize. Certificate of recognition. The mayor and council of the Borough of River Edge are proud to present this certificate to, and we'll say the names in a minute, in recognition of the Riverdale Blackhawks team Del Corva for winning their EB Flight Division 9U Girls Northeast Region U.S. Club Soccer. So we recognize Ariana Armento. We recognize Adriana Bosco. We recognize Faith Carabas. We recognize Gabriela Como. We recognize Breen Del Cora or Carroll, if it's pronounced that way. We recognize Olivia Gautier. We recognize Lennon Hastings. We recognize Sydney Hosumi. We recognize Eve Giuliano. We recognize Lydia Marchetti. We recognize Abigail Morissette. We recognize Emma Schweitzer. We recognize Mary Tiffolt. We recognize Charlize Villara. We recognize Coach David Del Cora or Corolla. We recognize Coach Joseph Gordier. We recognize Coach Aaron Hosumui. If one or all of the coaches would like to say a few words, that would be welcome at this time. And girls, I hope you're all on camera. You will be on YouTube and you'll be on the Mayor of River Edge website also, as well as the borough website. Joe, why don't you lead off?
Thank you, Mayor. The girls worked so hard all season. We're so proud of them. They're all just a pleasure to, coach and work with, as well as all the parents associated with this team and my fellow coaches. Everyone has just been wonderful and made it a great experience for the girls and all the parents. I think Coach Del Corral would like to say a few words as well.
Sorry, Coach, I've kind of myrtleized your name.
Oh, it's okay. These girls are an amazing group of female athletes. They represent the very best that River Edge and Ordinances have. And we are so proud of how hard they played and how hard they continue to play and grow and develop as female athletes. They are amazing. We are so proud of each and every one of you.
Excellent. And is Coach Hozumi present? Maybe not. All right. So one more round of applause for the girls 9 and under. Great. All right. Now we are up to boys 10 and under. So the certificate of recognition, the mayor and council of the Borough of River Edge are proud to present this certificate to, and we're going to say your names in a minute, in recognition of the Riverdale Blackhawks team Stein for winning their C Flight Division 10U Boys Northeast Region U.S. Club Soccer. Okay, we recognize Dante Baldone. We recognize Cole Bosbali. We recognize Luca DeVito. We recognize Anthony Estevez. We recognize Joy Koyama. We recognize Lucas Lemma. We recognize Sam McCree. We recognize Colin McGorry. We recognize Marcus Musha Rowe. We recognize Mason Ratner. We recognize Benjamin Rizkali. We recognize Elliot Samala. We recognize Dante Sturmello. We recognize Matthew Tan. We recognize Coach Ted Stein. We recognize Coach Joshua Ratner. We recognize Coach Frank Stromello. We recognize Coach Isaac Stein. Okay, round of applause. Wonderful, wonderful. Great job, boys. All right, would one of the coaches like to say a few words? If you don't, that's okay. Maybe we'll start with Coach Stein because I can see him here.
Yeah, Mayor, I'll probably, I'll probably speak for all, but first of all, thank you to you and the council for doing this. I think it's absolutely awesome for the kids. But just real quick is, just another absolutely great season. The team went undefeated. We played in our first tournament up in Monroe. These kids, just their dedication, their commitment, their hard work. I do want to thank, both Josh and Frank, Isaac, and especially John, our trainer. But also I want to thank the parents and families because the support every game, the commitment that they make, buying into what we're doing. And I will tell you, I feel very lucky to be able to coach these kids. They're just a great, great group of kids, and just congratulations to every one of you. And the great thing to all is that we're just having fun. So it's great all the way around. So Mayor and Council, again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Coach. Any one of the other coaches wish to chime in? This would be your time if you wish to do so. All right, well, let's one more round of applause. Great job, boys. Okay, so now we have a certificate of recognition. The mayor and council of the Borough of River Edge are proud to present this certificate to, and we're going to say your name in a minute, in recognition of the Riverdale Blackhawks team Ruiz de Somocorio for winning their A Flight Division 12U Boys Northeast Region U.S. Club Soccer. So let's end with the coaches. Give me a second while I just put the coaches at the bottom. Good. Okay. Owen Antonelli. We recognize Owen Antonelli. We recognize Kevin Barnes. We recognize Ener Bozoglu. We recognize Quinn Brennan. We recognize Matthew Brooks. We recognize Joseph Fontanetta. We recognize David Gaudier. We recognize Ryan McKinley. We recognize Colin McKinley. We recognize Ethan Miller. We recognize Nathaniel Ottmans. We recognize Ryan Pinto Spiegel. We recognize Anthony Russo di Somocuro. We recognize Luca Scalcinio. We recognize Sebastian Steiner. We recognize Jake Van Wettering. We recognize Coach Michael Rizzo di Somocurio. We recognize Coach Brian Brennan. We recognize Coach Douglas Brooks. We recognize Coach Andy Ottmans. Round of applause. Okay, if one of the coaches would like to add a few words, that'd be more than welcome.
Yeah, hello, thanks, and I want to thank the council as well for doing this. It's a cool touch for all the Blackhawks teams. Just really proud to be the coach of this team. I think we've got a great group of kids, put a lot of dedication for the last 4 years to win flights and to progress in their careers. To end up at winning a flight, I think it's just a testament to their dedication, the chemistry as a team, all the work put in. And I would echo like just the parents. I mean, we have a really good group of parents who have bought into the mindset of our team. So really proud of that. And to my coaches, I have the best in the biz. I want to thank you guys for always chipping in as well. So thanks again. I want to also congratulate the other teams. Great work, guys. And let's do it again this spring.
I forgot to read the abstract for the C flight and for the A flight. So let me do that so that the public can hear what a great job these boys have done. For the boys 12 and under, this is the highest ranked Blackhawks team. They won A flight this season with a 7-1-2 record, putting up 42 goals while giving up 17. They are the first Blackhawks team to win A flight in years. They put work into improve and develop as a team over the years to come. And I forgot to also read for the boys 10 and under. The boys 10 and under went undefeated this season, including winning their playoffs to end the fall season at 10-0. They scored 57 goals this season while only giving up 17. Winning flights isn't new for this group, as this is their third in a row. Each time they have been flight promoted. They will be flight promoted to B this spring. So another round of applause for the girls, for the boys, for all three teams. Great job. Great job. All right, now, boys and girls and coaches and family, if you'd like to stay, you're more than welcome to, but this might be homework time or snack time, getting ready for the end of the day. So we wish you well, and we're going to continue with the business of the borough. All right. I hope that we have someone representing Catholic schools tonight. Do we have that? Here it is. Do we have anyone representing Catholic schools? Especially, specifically St. Peter's Academy. Oh, let me see.
Michelle, you're muted.
Thank you. 1 second. I'm just trying to move them over.
Okay.
Not 100% sure who it is, but all right.
Several people responded in the chat.
Right. Okay, I think one of them should be it.
Okay. So who's going to represent St. Peter's, may I ask?
I'm a teacher at St. Peter's. I'm Kate Basler. I am the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade language arts teacher, and my student council president is here as well. Jonas Harrow. Jonas, are you here?
I see Jonas, but the mic is not yet unmuted.
Hi.
Jonas, are you there?
Yep.
Jonas, your camera is on. You don't have to turn it on, but if you'd like to, you could. We just lost Jonas. Oh, no, here he is.
Okay, I'm still here.
Here he is. Ah, Jonas. Jonas, maybe you could change the background.
Oops, sorry.
Appropriate. That's all right. We'll just wait for you to change that background. There we go. All right, Jonas. All right. So, Basler, is it?
Basler, yes.
Basler. Okay, Basler and Jonas. All right. So, proclamation. Whereas St. Peter's Academy plays an important role in our community by furnishing our leaders of tomorrow with basic human, moral, and spiritual foundations. And whereas St. Peter's Academy strengthens the community and nation by keeping viable the right to freedom of religion under law. And whereas St. Peter's Academy is intended to fulfill the threefold purpose of message, community, and service. And whereas the NCEA, the National Catholic Education Association, has declared the week of January 30th, 2022 through February 5th, 2022 as Catholic School Week in the United States of America, with their theme being Catholic Schools, Faith, Excellence, Service. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Thomas Papaleo, Mayor of the Borough of River Edge, in recognition thereof, do hereby proclaim January 30th through February 5th, 2022 as Catholic School Weeks. In witness thereof, I have hereto set my hand and caused the seal of the Borough of River Edge to be affixed to this proclamation. Okay.
Much.
Basler, if you'd like to make a few comments, you're welcome. And then maybe if you feel it'd be appropriate, maybe Jonas could, but it's up to you. It's your call.
Oh, I would like to thank River Edge for acknowledging Catholic Schools Week. It's a wonderful week where we get to come together. We're a faith-filled family at our school, and we're looking forward to celebrating that. And I encourage people to come and check out our school during that week. We'll have, check out our website and stuff. Because of COVID, we can't have open houses and things like we have in the past. But, check out our website and check out the Facebook page and everything that our Home and School Association has, and come and get to know us. Jonas, would you like to add some?
Yes. Thank you to all our teachers for making the school a wonderful environment, and thanks to River Edge and the mayor for making it such a nice place.
Okay, great. Well, we love St. Peter's and the Academy. They do a great job educating our youth. We are very proud of the teachers there as well as the students, and of course, Father Mike and the clergy that support it, and all of the ministry staff that does so. So again, Catholic School Weeks, congratulations. All right. So if anyone's here for Catholic School Weeks, if you'd like to stay, you're more than welcome to. If not, if you have homework to do, or if you need to get ready for tomorrow, feel free to go at this time. All right, take care. All right. And great. Okay, for discussion, we have Anthony Iovino of Iovino and Cardi Architects, Municipal Building Assessment and Recommendations. Ms. Apertol, do you wish to frame this discussion, or do you just want the architect to jump right in?
Just to give a little bit of background, when Mr. Iovino had presented to the mayor and council back in December, initially he did an initial assessment of the building with a structural engineer and the mechanical engineer. And then he was going to bring further experts in to delve into the condition of the building. And so tonight's discussion is just going to be the results of that delving in and what recommendation Mr. Iovino has for moving forward. There'll be no designs, no renderings presented. It's all conceptual. And then the governing body has to give direction on how to move forward based on the findings.
Okay. We'll turn it over to you, Mr. Iovino.
Thank you, Mayor. So a couple of weeks ago, I had a contractor go over and take a look at the conditions in preparation for giving a quote for shoring up and re-leveling the center space. He came back a bit concerned about what he had seen there. His concerns were primarily about whether it would be possible to actually achieve level without changing framing members. In what he said he saw there was that the floor members have a twist or basically a permanent bend to them because they've been stressed for so long. And then secondly, the amount of disturbance that would happen by lifting up those floors in terms of cracks in the walls for that whole center section of the building along Kinderkramak. The doors probably would have to be changed. Concern about whether the electrical would be disrupted, because he said the second floor is out by several inches, like 4 to 6 inches out, which is pretty amazing. So it got us thinking that, you know, with the electrical issues you already have, with the mechanical issues you already have, with the structural issues you already have, that it really makes sense to perhaps gut that center section or the entire length of the Kinderkramak section, that front part, the original house, right, which is, that structure is nearly 100 years old as it is right now. The reason I say that is, I mean, you can certainly come in and shore up and try and re-level and patch everything. You can absolutely do those things. But we don't know what will come from that action. And I think it would be wise to attack it all at one shot. And one, I know you're already talking about getting your staff out of that front section, at least until you shore this up. And you really, regardless of what happens, shoring it up should happen first. And we talked about that in our meeting last month. Secondly, I really do think that it would be wise to gut renovate that front section. So aside from curing the structural issues, the electrical issues, the mechanical issues, you could insulate the building properly and save on energy. You could change all of your lighting to LED lighting and save on energy. You know, you can improve the just general quality of it. You can improve the layout of the building too for that front section. And I know, and it's not, I don't know this directly, but I suspect that you might have asbestos in some localized areas that, you know, we don't know exactly what was tackled in the 1990s renovation, but given the original age of the building, it's likely you have some lead paint buried in there. You may have some asbestos buried in there. So it's a matter of curing all of these ills rather than taking a Band-Aid approach to the issues that are there. You know, there in what I had reported on previously, for everything from the police building, and this all was done at the same time, right? The police addition and the renovation. There were some questionable items that we had found. So it makes me concerned about what do you uncover when you start peeling back the layers. And I think a logical approach here is to, let's give it a fresh start. Let's reframe that building so that it's not a house being used as an office, but it's an office. So it can handle the file loads and it'll flow better. So that was a discussion I had with Lizette, and she recommended that we have this broader discussion tonight.
Okay, I'm going to open up to the council to ask questions of Mr. Iovino. Any member of council would like to ask a question? Council President?
Just wondering if you have any kind of ballpark number of how much you think that would cost.
Sure, Michelle, I started to throw numbers both from a square foot point of view to trying to take some items apart. For reference, your first and second floors are roughly 1,625 square feet. That's my quick calculation of the inside dimension. Attic has about that same area. The basement's smaller. The basement doesn't have the end spaces. Basement's about 1,000 square feet. So when I do a square foot calculation, and if I use anywhere from 175 to 200 a square foot for the occupied spaces, first and second floors, that might sound like a crazy number, but in today's world, it isn't. For demolition and reconstruction. And then I used a much lower number, like 50 to 75 for the basement and the attic, because like the basement for me is take the ceiling finishes down so we can expose electrical, We have a couple of structural items there, but they're not major. Attic, there's no insulation. We should insulate the attic. And we have some structure at the attic floor. So when I use those numbers, I'm 700 to 850. But then I know we had some other things we talked about in our previous report, whether they're included or not. Then you would go up from there. So I think as a start point right now, and we absolutely don't know everything that we need to know just yet, is that we're in this range of 700 to 850, maybe a little bit more. In terms of a sequence, if I could just follow on this thought, is that, and we did this for the township of Teaneck. I don't know if any of you are familiar with their addition they did a few years ago. They took over the old police building that was empty for like 20 years. We had them do a demolition first, where they cleaned the building out so we can see the frame. And it saved a ton of money because it got rid of all the surprises. I recommend that you do that here. If you're going to take this path, that you obviously vacate the building, you shore it up, then you basically strip it so we can see the structure, get to that start point, and it'll take away the mystery of it. And then we can do the documents to reconstruct. And, you know, for instance, right now, your mechanical systems, if it were working, is not a fresh air system. It relies on you opening your windows for fresh air, even in the winter. In today's world, I think it would be wise to have a more conventional fresh air system where we can filter the air, we can have the air exchange. And so it's a ducted system, or at least bringing in fresh air ducted to the type of system you have now. So there are a bunch of different reasons, I think, why it makes sense to take a more comprehensive look at this and try and do it right, where this isn't a Band-Aid for X number of years, but a solution that will make this building usable for, 20, 30, 40 years out.
Anthony, maybe I didn't hear, but what was your ballpark figure?
I was saying that maybe it's 700 to 850 right now, Mayor, without
50,000.
Yes. This is doing all the mechanicals, doing your electrical, doing the structural.
So under $1 million, the entire project?
I think it can be done. It's not a big project, right? It's 3,200 square feet of occupied space. And that's the front, right? So I think when you come into the building right now, right, and you go that front stair or the stair from the side street, it's really everything to the right. And so I think you can keep the bathrooms, I think, what is it, the finance office, the council chambers, everything's to the left of that line. I'm only talking about the rectangle that's parallel to Kinderkamak. That's part of the original house. That's where you have the floor issues. So if we contain it to that, I think you can, contain that number under $1 million.
Michelle, do you have another question?
This isn't really for you, I don't think, but so we would still have the HVAC system to replace on top of that, right?
No, I think that's part of this.
Oh, that's included in that number?
I believe it is. Now, please, everybody understand, this is a dart I'm throwing at this right now because there are so many mysteries to this that we really need to dive deeper to understand more. But I think it's, the part of the building we're talking about renovating doesn't have bathrooms. There's no plumbing. There's nothing significant about it. And that's why I think it would be easier to pull back, clean it out, and then let's come back fresh.
Okay, any other member of council wish to ask a question? Council Lisa.
Thank you, Mr. Arvino. Quick question. Does that number include soft costing also, or are we looking, again, that ballpark number includes the soft costs associated with professionals and assessment and further assessments that you alluded to?
No, it wouldn't. I was just estimating what I think the construction value would be. You would have soft costs for us, or, you might need environmental engineer to do some testing in case, any abatement needs to be done. Whether or not you're doing any new furniture, trying to think of other costs. I know, obviously, if you're vacating the premises, your staff need to go somewhere. So is there a rental cost somewhere else, or do you have a place that you can go to for free, et cetera? So yeah, there are outside project costs, but I was only talking about potential construction costs.
Lisa, you have a follow-up?
Thank you.
Councilman Kanigo.
Thank you, Mayor. Understanding that this is your recommendation, do we have an alternative option?
You shore it up and you patch whatever has to get patched or replaced due to the movement. You do the separate electrical upgrades that were talked about last month. There's a lack of outlets which are causing the circuits to trip. You have separate repair replacement to your mechanical systems. And I don't know if the existing system could be maintained in any way.
Okay, and do you have a ballpark for how much that would cost us?
I don't separately, I do not. But I can tell you it would be the majority of what we're talking about here.
I'm just trying to get an understanding of what the difference would be in price. And I understand that the ballpark you gave us is not an exact number and we wouldn't hold you to it. And it's probably going to go a lot higher than that. So I'm just trying to see, like, I mean, is the difference, $1 million versus $150,000, which is significant, or is the difference $1 million versus maybe 750 anyway, which then it makes sense for us just to spend $1 million.
Right. Hard to say, obviously, because I didn't dive into those, and I really don't know what the cure is for your mechanical system right now. But even if you figure it's half, and that might be high for that, that type of repair approach, but that's possible. I don't think it's out of the question to take that approach, but I don't know how long you're fixing that for. And also, what are you getting for that amount of money, right? It's the layout's the same, you're not insulated, you still have potentially hazardous materials there, energy efficiency with insulation and lighting, et cetera. That's obviously what this discussion is about, right? That you're taking that one approach versus the other. Either one of these are necessary to move forward with.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, anyone else on council? Councilwoman Bastide.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mr. Iovino. Thank you for joining us. I just wanted to confirm, so the bathroom on that lower level would not be included in this, nor would the bathroom adjacent to the elevator? There'd be no plumbing kind of work?
That's my expectation, right? So where those are in line with that elevator, and that elevator separates that part, that building shaped like a T, right? So it's the long part that parallels Kinderkamak that doesn't have the elevator, doesn't have the bathrooms in it. That's the part I'm talking about, right? So that part that has the bathrooms, elevator, council chambers is a part that the only way that would be impacted is by whatever improvement we make to the mechanical systems.
Okay, so I always thought that bathroom on the lower level had problems, so I just didn't know whether it was worthwhile including that in this conversation. Also,
right. But that, I'm sorry, I was going to say, it's exactly those types of things that, if it's logical to do, there's a little bit of what they call scope creep, right? If I'm targeting the one section, why not do this? Why not do the windows? Why not do that? Why, and it's an absolute good discussion to have. And I think in my mind, the process, again, if we say, we know we're going to take this more global approach, if the demolition, cleaning it out is the first step, we can really see what needs to be done and collectively make those decisions before you do the construction set.
Okay. Okay. And the elevator is not, and has no part in this whole discussion, right?
That's my expectation.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thanks, Mayor.
All right. Any other member of council like to ask a question or make a comment? Okay. So now we have to have a discussion about what direction we want to tell Mr. Iovino to go. Um, uh, I would recommend that we go to gut to studs and then rebuild. I was not expecting $1 million in hard costs. I was expecting a much higher number. He did say 700 to 850, but I'm just going to round it up to $1 million. I think it makes sense. I don't think doing a patch and then having to leave it to another council in 3 to 5 years to patch again and so on and so forth. But that's my opinion. What's the opinion of the council?
I agree with the mayor. I did think it was going to be a higher number. And if it is really going to be this number, I think we should get an estimate, a better estimate, I guess.
I
Any
agree.
comments? You agree?
I agree.
So what we're talking about, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Dario. Forgive me.
Nope, you go.
No, I was just going to say, so what we're talking about here is authorizing Mr. Iovino to prepare an estimate to do the gut work. Is that what, and then the rebuilding? That's what we're talking about?
I'm not 100% certain on that. Mr. Iovino, what is it that we would, what sort of direction do you need, Mr. Iovino, if we're going to move ahead with your recommendation? What is it that you'd want us to authorize? And Lizette, if you could chime in at any time.
I think there, in my mind, there are 4 items, right? One is we really do need to get somebody in there to shore up those floors, right? 2 is I think it would be wise to get a company to come in, and if you haven't already, historically, I don't know if you've ever tested for lead paint, asbestos, that again is common in an older building, because we need to know that before you take any other action on it. 3 is then, prepare bid documents to basically cut, clean it out down to the studs. To me, those are your 3 main ones. And of course, 4 is you got to plan to vacate those spaces.
Okay, Lizette, do you want to chime in before the council continues to debate?
Yes, also, I would need to know what direction to move forward in order to look into some vacant office commercial space to move not just the staff, but the furniture and all of our files. I did reach out to the CFO, and he explained that if the governing body is going to move forward with a construction project, the cost for leasing office space and storage of records while the project is ongoing can be included in that bond. The CFO also mentioned there was another municipality who determined that they'd rather rent the space than do construction, but in that situation, the cost of the lease is an operating budget item, and that's included in your 2% cap.
I'm confused. So
Well, what I wanted to know is, as part in tandem with granting Mr. Iovino permission to look for doing the environmental testing and prepare the documents, to also look for commercial office space to move the staff, and the cost, if that's being tied in with a construction project, the CFO in conjunction with bond counsel can roll those costs in with the bond.
yes, and then you went on, and that I completely understood, and I
Yeah.
assumed that would be a lease or a rent. But then you
Yes.
went on to say we couldn't put that lease or rent in a bond, so that's what confused me.
No. The second part of my explanation is if the governing body decides not to do anything with the building and continue leasing off-site as a permanent action,
Oh, okay.
that is permitted, but then that becomes part of your operating budget. So I'm just presenting all options.
I don't think we're looking about to permanently move everyone and empty the building and just leave it empty. I mean, I don't think that's what we're considering, but we'll see. Dario, did you want to chime in?
Dario, you're muted.
Sorry about that. How many people are we talking about moving?
It would be the upstairs staff, so there's 3 of us. Building, health, land use, and it would make sense because there would be disturbance to finance, so that's about a dozen employees.
Is there any of the employees that we can have work from home during this time as a substitute, since we've kind of just gone through that and we're experienced and therefore it might be a little more cost effective for us?
All the employees interface with the public, whether they're paying their taxes, looking for a permit. Let's say if we're limited in space, we could alternate having certain people on site, but we still need to find a space for all the files. That is possible to alternate space usage.
Hold on a second, Mr. Iovino, do you believe that we could keep the finance department area open during the construction, or would that not be possible?
I believe you can, Mayor. What I don't know of is, what gets disturbed in terms of the HVAC system or electrical systems while some of this is going on. But, that part is outside of the gut renovation area.
Yeah, because we have to keep the public safety building open.
Right.
So
that's not a problem.
That part's going to be there. So Lizette, what I'm thinking, and following along with Councilman Kinigo's idea, is that we might be able to move land use board into the finance and keep finance there. Or would you not see that as practical?
The finance department has already space limitations where all their records, there wouldn't be any room for the land use records. And with all the paperwork that comes with an application, Ed will just take over.
So we couldn't move health, and we couldn't move building, and we couldn't move land use in there.
No, because if you go, I know public's not allowed in there, but if you go into, even though you see a couple of empty desks, there are boxes everywhere of records that they don't have storage room.
Okay. Darren, and then Michelle.
What about that building on the corner of Elm and Continental, the Cultural Affairs building? Is that something that we could repurpose for the several months that this project will take place and move our people in there? That's our building, right?
That is, however, I was speaking with the DPW superintendent for a different use of that, and he says there is extensive wood rot, so it would not be able to hold being occupied. That site needs renovation on a separate level.
What about what about the Shade Tree building that we just finished renovating? It's a small building, but we couldn't move anyone in there, right?
No, that's
No,
smaller than, that's a very small office space. It wouldn't hold any files, and the bathroom isn't operational.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we were discussing this. Who was after Dario? Was it you, Michelle, or was go ahead.
I was going to say, what about the library?
No, they're going to go under renovations for that, for the room, and to house all the employees and all their files.
They're about to put in the generator and everything else.
Okay, what about the fire department upstairs office space?
That would only be the Office of Emergency Management that would be available to us, and that space is very small. That's smaller than the Shade Tree Commission building.
Okay.
Daria, oh wait, hold on. I believe Indira, didn't you have your hand up and I missed you?
No, that's okay. Someone asked the question I wanted, but as a follow-up, just do we know how much it's going to cost?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Hold on, Daria, before you, Chief Walker.
Let the chief speak.
Thanks. I'm sorry, guys. Just listening to you talk, I can just throw in some history. You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. When they renovated the building last time, it was actually when I just started. They were just finishing. I actually started for a few weeks in the old building. Once our side was done, they took the staff and they put it in our meeting room upstairs. And in which case, with the court being Zoom, as a potential using those two. They were actually able to fit the staff on those, in that room. The meeting room was actually, they brought in quite a few more phone lines to actually make that work. So just an idea. I don't know whether you consider it too tight now, but it did work in the past where they brought everybody to this side.
Well, it might help if we could move some of the departments there. That might not be a bad idea. For instance, Lizette, you and Anne and Judy maybe moving into that space could keep you in the building, and that might be a good idea. So that's a great suggestion. We can certainly look into that. And the court is currently remote, if I understand correct. I know that Judge Radazzo has been running, he's been coming into the building to run that, but there's nobody in there, so we could turn that entire seating area, and then we might only need a smaller space. But it appears to me, if I'm reading this correct, that the council is of the opinion that we should move forward with the renovation of the building. So if we could perhaps return to that before we continue the discussion. Is the council up for steps 1, 2, 3, because 4 is vacate, 5 is move out. So shore up, testing, and bid gut. Is the council of the opinion that this is how we should go? Let's return to that part of the discussion, because the other is kind of moot until we decide this.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, why don't
Yes,
we make
Mr. Mayor.
Why don't we make this a motion? Could I have a motion to authorize Mr. Iovino and our BA, Lizette Apertola, and our CFO to move forward with a renovation of the original home building, which would include first to shore up, second to testing, third to bid out, and then 4 vacate and move into offices or find space, and then we can continue discussion about what sort of direction we want to give about the moving out in the space. Could I have a motion and second for that?
So moved.
Second.
Even though this does not require a roll call, I would like a roll call, and if you could give a roll call.
Sure. Councilwoman Bastide,
Yes.
Councilman Kanigo,
Yes.
Council President Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Malalari,
Yes.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen.
Yes.
Okay, so we have that. Let's now continue with the discussion. Chief's point might work for us. We might be able to move some of the staff into the meeting room in the public safety building, and other staff outside of the rec office, and keep the finance in there. I would assume, Mr. Iovino, that we would be creating either positive pressure or negative pressure, and we'd be putting up some sort of screening, some sort of stuff like that. Is that not true?
Yeah, that's true, Mayor. And luckily the openings at each floor are just where when you come out of the stair and you turn right to go into those offices is rather contained. So it would be easy to seal off the front of the building, the renovation work, from the rest.
Okay, we also have the council chambers that could also be turned into office space too. And those are a possibility. So we might be able to keep everybody in the building if Mr. Iovino, you did say this. I just want to confirm that you think that there is a good probability that we could stay in the building in the space, the finance office, and the space above the finance office, which is the council chambers and public safety building.
I believe that those portions of the building can be occupied during this work.
All right. And that's just for the public's benefit. One of the reasons that is because we don't have a ventilation system that is a duct system. So there is no ducts or air moving between the different parts of the building. So there would not be a need to shut down the heating system because the heating system is already a series of independent units. Is that correct, Mr. Iavino?
That's correct.
All right. Now, this may not be possible. We're going to task our BA with looking into this, but the more we can save the public as we make these renovations, the better off we would be. And we'd all have to see what the cost would be. I'm sure Lizette will look into that, of renting space versus renovating space. And if there is a very little difference, then we would probably want everybody to go to a rented space. But if there is a substantial saving, we would like to keep everybody in the building. Does the council agree with that sort of thinking? Nod or unmute, say yes or no.
Yes.
All right. So unless there is more to discuss, I think we can move on to the next topic. Lizette, is there anything else you need from us, Mr. Iavino? Is there anything else you need from us?
Not at this time.
No, we'll just gather the data and everyone stay tuned.
Great. And if we
Okay.
need to call a special meeting to review in order to make sure this moves forward in a timely fashion, we can also do that. All right. So thank you, Mr. Iavino. I think
Good night, everybody.
appreciate you being here.
Yep.
Okay. We have parking restrictions, Wayne Avenue. Who will be addressing that topic?
In the mail, the governing body received the attached petition from residents seeking parking restrictions on Wayne between Kinderkamack and Bogert. They want it reduced from what currently exists of 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. to 9 a.m. until 11 a.m. So it's up to the governing body to review and determine if they want to move forward for further consideration. If so, then that would have to be vetted through traffic and safety and brought back to the governing body. However, I had spoken to Chief Walker, just to get some history on it, and that area did submit a petition previously that they requested. Unfortunately, that area is also a safety concern for vehicular and pedestrian traffic. It's a grade school zone. It's a tough angled intersection in addition to a crossing guard intersection, along with a student pickup and drop off area and line of sight issues. So there are many factors to take into consideration as to whether or not to even move forward with evaluating the request, but it's up to the governing body. And if so, the next step would be for it to come before traffic and safety for further recommendation.
Lizette, did you say that currently it's 9 to 2?
Based on what the petition says, they're seeking to reduce it from 9 to 2 to 9 to 11.
Chief, do you want, since you're here, do you want to speak to the issue before council debates?
Yeah, I can a little bit. I didn't know I was going to speak, but I do have, Officer Diamond gave me a report on it when I brought up the email. So I'm just referring back to his email, which are many of the things that Lizette had said. We did go through this back in 2015, and we did a real critique of the area. It included even talking to the residents. It's set the way that it is so that the traffic flows properly with the school. If you tweak it, it could very quickly cause problems with the vehicular traffic. If the cars aren't in the right spots at the right time, and you run into whether it's lunchtime or after school or morning, those cars, as anyone knows, the parents dropping off kids or picking up kids will line up the eastbound south side of Wayne all the way down to the parking lot, as the crossing guard knows, because he has to let cars in sometimes. So if you alternate that, if you were to have traffic on the other side at that time, parking there, that could be a problem because you're making the street even thinner. Let alone as we know, with many of those streets on Bogert, Wayne being one of them, the angle isn't perfectly, a T. It's a slant, and that causes for visual issues with people coming up and turning. So it's been looked at before. Of recent, I'm not sure why this came up. I know that there have been one or two people, residents who have received tickets, and I'm not sure if that's why they're, it stirred the pot a little bit perhaps, but we don't see a reason to change it. There was a lot of homework done to make it the way that it is, and it has been safe for all intents and purposes. The traffic, yes, every now and then. And we try to do the best we can for the residents. And I feel that in 2015, we did reach out to the residents to the best we could and get their input. And we came up with what we have.
Councilman Kanigo, you're on traffic and safety. What's your opinion?
I defer to the chief on this one. It's right next to the school. It's a very busy intersection. There's kids there all day long. There's after school activities and such. The police have done studies on this. There's a reason that those time constraints are placed there. So I wouldn't be in favor of changing anything. But certainly the reason I raised my hand is because the Traffic and Safety Committee would have to vet any changes. But I concur with the chief. I don't think we should touch this one.
I do too. I concur. Council President, do you have any thoughts? You gotta unmute, Michelle.
Sorry, I concur.
Other members of council, thoughts?
I agree as well, Mayor. I defer to the chief on this.
Ellen, Lisa, Claudiana?
I concur as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we'll listen to the chief. I concur.
Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to say that at this time, we're not going to consider it as per the advice of the chief and given the review that occurred in 2015. Okay, thank you, Chief. Shop Local Committee. I believe, Michelle, that's you, right? Michelle, you're muted.
Are we not doing vaccine policy?
Oh, I went right over vaccine policy. My
All right.
bad. My bad. I apologize. Vaccine policy. Okay, who's speaking to that? Council President?
Yeah, Mayor, we made the changes based on our prior conversations with regard to the sick time for the DPW and part-time employees, and also so it reflects to follow the CDC guidelines. So a revised policy was submitted per your directive for your consideration.
Okay, Mr. Solo, can you just go a little bit more in depth about why we're doing this for the DPW and what we're doing for part-time? In other words, how the ordinance is, or resolution actually, is being amended?
Sure. The concern was that the part-time in DPW does not have unlimited sick time, and that they only have, I believe they get 9 days per their collective bargaining agreement. So if any of them need to quarantine and or exposed or has a positive, based on the CDC guidelines, they're going to eat up their sick time on this. So I believe it was the mayor and council's directive to, because they're the only collective bargaining agreement, and also with the part-time that does not have unlimited sick time, that we would allow them that any quarantine or sick because of COVID would not apply to their nine allotted days.
Okay. So they'd be able to save those. Okay.
Yes.
And the other part is we're changing the language so that whatever the CDC guidelines are is going to be our guidelines.
It's going to be changing, right? It's going to be ever changing. So we don't
Went from
continue
10 days of quarantine to 5, I believe.
to 5 now. So if it changes again, we are covered. We don't need to go back and make the revisions.
Okay. Does any member of council wish to speak to any other issue? Okay. Just for our listeners, we did consider the idea of going from mandated to testing, and the council chose not to go in that direction, but to maintain, well, in its closed session discussion, well, so the ordinance does not reflect moving to a testing, but maintaining the the mandated vaccination as a requirement for employment. Okay, anyone else would like to speak? Any from council to this, or should we move on? Okay, and I apologize for skipping over that. It wasn't intentional. I just made a mistake.
I just wanted to mention the PBA has said in the chat they would like to speak prior to the vote if possible.
Yes, we're going to be opening to any item on the agenda right after item D and C, which is shop local and 310 Wales Avenue. So absolutely, that will happen. Shop local.
Okay, so I was hoping, and it's not ready tonight, but hoping to do a resolution if the council supports it, to start an effort to enhance business in town to the degree that we are able, by having more engagement with the store owners and the landlords in town. Maybe create a database of all of the store owners and all of the landlords, and just simply go to the landlords that do have vacancies and ask them who their ideal tenant would be, and work to the extent we can to help them possibly fill some of the empty real estate in town. So wanted to hear everyone's thoughts on that. I did hear the mayor from Point Pleasant Beach talk at the New Jersey League of Municipalities, and he did something similar. And he did get a lot of his empty space filled in town.
So any member of council would like to unmute themselves. You don't need to raise your hand and chime in. Do you think it's a good idea, bad idea? Do you have questions? Do you have comments?
I just want to thank Councilwoman Kaufman for bringing the idea to the council. I think that having data on our landlords and our property owners can only help us with this effort. So I think it's a great idea, Michelle.
Thanks.
I agree. Great idea, Michelle. Thank you.
I agree as well.
Yes.
Great idea, Michelle.
Okay, great. So I'll work on a resolution with our lawyer and Lisette and whoever else for the next meeting.
Lizette, if you would speak to 310 Wales Avenue fence replacement.
I don't have much of the background. There are property owners that are seeking to put up a fence. When they went to obtain a permit, it had been denied because there is an active sewer line right along the property line where they want to put the fence. So it's up to the mayor and council to, initially they were told to go before the land use board, but based on further review by the zoning officer, it didn't require a variance. So it's up to the governing body to determine whether or not to grant some type of licensing agreement in order for these property owners to not just place the fence, but they have to know that if the borough needs to access that line at any time, they have to take it down. They have, the fence can't get in the way. They can't get in the way of the borough doing its business. So the rest is for the governing body to discuss among themselves on how to proceed.
So this has come out from time to time before the council over the 10 years I've been on. Sometimes we said yes, sometimes we said no. We said no more than yes. Question becomes, they're basically putting a fence on our property. I believe at 310 Wales, there was a fence there. They're looking to replace it. But the thing of it is that they would have to accept, if the council was interested in doing it, that the DPW might at any time need to come access that land and need to tear down their fence. And that would, they would, if it requires us to, if there's a cost connected with us tearing down that fence, they'd have to pay for that. And then if they wanted to put it back up, they'd have to pay for that too. In other words, this license would simply be, yes, you can put the fence up, but at any time it could come down and you may be charged for taking it down. So having said that, what is the council's thoughts? Daria?
The homeowner is okay with that agreement and understands that, it could happen that our people need access and it could incur costs for them. I don't see why we should say no, especially since there's a fence up there already.
Michelle?
I agree with Councilman Kenigo. As long as it's a revocable permit that would not carry forward to the next owner, the next owner would have to come in front of council again. I think it's okay in this case.
I agree.
I would agree as well.
I agree as well.
And Lisa?
I agree. I agree with the way that Michelle proposed it.
All right. So Lizette, if you can work with Mr. Costa and Mr. Sarlo and Mr. Tom Baring, Mr. Baring, to develop language that would completely protect the borough and make absolutely clear the obligations of the homeowner. And if they're good with that language, then it can come before the council for a vote. Good?
Okay.
Great. All right. Could I have a motion to open to the public on any item on the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
I don't believe this is a roll call, Tom. I believe this can be a voice vote, right? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, we are now open to the public.
Okay, so I think George and Lisa Gladwell were first. 1 second. George and Lisa, you can unmute and speak. And please say your address.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi everyone. Thank you for your service. Happy New Year. My name is Lisa Gladwell. I'm here with George, my husband. We are residents living at 41 Wayne Avenue. And we'd like to make a few comments and make a request in regard to the traffic on the parking restrictions on Wayne Avenue. We have lived here for many years. We were the ones, the Block Association, had asked many years ago for us to restrict parking in the first place because we were the last side street to restrict parking, and we were covered. Wayne Avenue was covered with commuters taking the bus into the city. So we initiated that. The history is then we had the new bridge, the new school, the addition put on, and they came up with valet pickup and drop off. And that changed substantially. That changed the quality of our life, not only ours, everyone on our block here on Wayne Avenue. With the valet, I don't know if anybody remembers this. You had colors in the window, and everybody drove into the school, dropped their child off, and then drove back out. That created a traffic hazard in addition to parking issues on Wayne itself. But what happened was they dropped the valet. And now people park. They park, they walk their kids in, they to both schools, they go in both directions, and they come back. There is no moving lane of traffic on Wayne Avenue. And I believe these changes, the elimination of the valet pickup and drop off, was done after this traffic study. If what I'd like to do, and I believe that's the history, I don't have it in front of us. No one I need to say no one on Wayne Avenue was consulted before the last traffic restriction changes. I don't believe the traffic study involved anyone on Wayne also. What I would like to suggest is that the 2015 study be reviewed because I think things have changed substantially. And what we are asking for, which is a small reduction in the parking restriction time, is so that for residents who are doing half a day, if you have a contractor come in, if you're only working half a day, you're able to park on your own street. And there's been a huge bevy of tickets that have been handed out to residents here. In error, I mean, not the same scofflaws all the time. And also their visitors, their contractors, their grandmothers, and it's getting a little cumbersome. And the other, while I have you here, we'd like to see the study. If public safety is going to meet on it, we'd love to talk with them. We will work with anybody, and that not just includes us; it includes our other neighbors also. And we'd like to see a copy of that 2015 study because we know what's changed. The other thing, and this is just Lisa bringing it up, but I will talk to the neighbors about it, is if we do another traffic study, Wayne Avenue is turned into a significant cut through. Anytime there is any type of traffic on Kinderkamak, and the traffic on Kinderkamak is not going away. People are flying from Bogart down Wayne to cut through onto Kinderkamak and flying up Wayne onto Bogart to cut through. Many years ago, we talked about possibly putting in speed bumps or checking with that. We did talk with the, I think it was probably Chief Caridi or Starace even before him. I think it may have been Chief Starace. And it wasn't as necessary at the time, but that was before we had a second school here. And I sit in the morning, I'm outside on my front porch, and there are cars flying down the street. Someone, and we just talked, the other part of that is we have two schools behind us. And we just talked about safety. You know, this can be a dangerous street, but I think it can work better for everyone. It may be worthwhile doing a traffic study now. So that was the longest sentence in the world, and I appreciate you listening. So thank you.
All right. Well, Lisa and George, the chief is as an attendee. I think he's heard everything you said. So I'm sure he's going to make sure that patrol of Wayne is, looked into. So as for the study, if you come down to Borough Hall and fill out a request for a copy of the study, then the clerk would look to find it. And because under the Open Public Records Act, OPRA, you're entitled to that. So if you want to come down to Borough Hall and fill out a request for that, then the clerk would begin to look for a copy of that and hopefully get that to you with some haste. And what we could do is we could ask the chief to have a patrol officer look at the traffic issues and whether or not people are parking on the street and therefore blocking the flow of traffic and being an obstruction to safety. And and maybe the chief could tell us from a police standpoint where we stand with that. And maybe we could do that if possible at the next meeting. But as for the 9 to 2 p.m., until we have at least the chief look at some of your safety concerns, we're going to stick with that. But if you want the council to reconsider it, as we did tonight, to direct traffic and safety or the chief to do a full-scale study, we're not going to move ahead with that tonight. But we might at a future meeting. And Lizette, if you could put it back on for discussion, and if the chief could give us a preliminary assessment of what he thinks about George and Lisa's, it's Gadwell, I'm sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Gadwell's concern that the study is invalid because The study included valet parking, and then the chief can take a look at that too, because I'm sure they have a copy too, and see if that was part of the assessment. And if it is, then maybe we need to do a traffic study again, but maybe not. So does that sound satisfactory, Lisa and George?
Yes, it does, Mayor. Thank you very much. We
You're welcome.
want the best, safety first.
Yes, we
and
do
we
too.
want that what's best for the community. And we are happy to work with you and Chief Walker on this. And I appreciate your time. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Council President.
Yes, next up is Matt Petersky from the PBA. 1 second.
Now, remember, Matt, you and any other police officer do not need to give your address. Just simply state that you're a police officer and, of course, that you are a police officer in River Edge, and that's sufficient.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Matthew Petersky, and I'm the Vice President of the River Edge PBA Local 201. We're back before you again tonight to speak about the vaccine policy. While we appreciate some of the changes that were made to the policy, specifically as it relates to time off for our colleagues in the DPW and non-contractual employees of the borough, the River Edge PBA still has major concerns over the lack of testing option in this policy. I'd like to remind you all again, when the policy was first discussed in September, there was a conversation about the possibility for allowing testing. The discussion from September 13th meeting talked about having the testing option and a hybrid policy. The cost of the testing was also raised, but all of a sudden with the mayor's final poll that evening, the testing option was being openly discussed seemed to suddenly be pushed aside in lieu of the vaccine mandate. What exactly changed? Over the course of the next several months, there was discussion about OSHA's policies waiting for them to be rolled out prior to the borough rolling out their policy. The OSHA mandate was defeated by the United States Supreme Court. The federal courts in another hearing defeated the mandate of all federal employees must be vaccinated. If the federal government cannot mandate that all federal employees be vaccinated across the country, why is our town approximately 12,000 residents and less than 250 employees mandating it? With that said, how are we defining the word employee? A teenager camp counselor going to be required to be vaccinated because they collect a paycheck from the borough? Are volunteer coaches who were covered under the borough's insurance policy going to be required to get vaccinated? Are borough subcontractors, professionals, and their employees required to get vaccinated because they are on the borough roster? I think we can all agree that the great thing about the United States is that we have choices. When opportunities have presented themselves, this council has raved about our PBA Local 201, our officers and their conduct, the employees of the borough, and most importantly, their abilities to make the right choices day in and day out. Without incorporating a testing option in this policy, you're effectively removing your employees' ability to make the decision for themselves and their families. You're backing your employees into a corner by forcing them to get vaccinated or otherwise face termination. These employees have given countless hours of dedicated service to this town because of the pandemic and continuously throughout the pandemic. They're the employees who work with our residents, who keep our streets safe and keep our streets plowed. They are the employees who ensure that our town's infrastructure runs seamlessly. They are your employees who have families, mortgages, car payments, and school costs, all of which will be at risk should an employee face termination. Without the incorporation of a testing policy, it appears as if the council no longer believes in its employees are capable of making appropriate decisions for themselves and their families. Shouldn't a choice exist? This is the United States of America. If you remove our choice for vaccination and instead mandate it, if someone were to suffer a severe debilitating reaction due to this mandate, who will ultimately be responsible? What would happen to the employee, and what recourse would be available when the council removed the employee's decision to choose? Vaccination should be an option, not a mandate. And testing should be incorporated into this policy. Testing can let people know that they are positive, sometimes before symptoms even develop, sometimes when they're asymptomatic. Testing keeps the workplace safe. To be clear, we are asking that the mayor and council reconsider the policy that is currently up for a vote tonight and allow for a testing option. Allowing for testing would put the borough's policy in line with OSHA's policy that was defeated by the Supreme Court. Allowing testing would also put the borough's policy in line with Governor Murphy's executive orders and the Bergen County's policy for their own employees. Upon conclusion of my comments, we would appreciate having clarity on the following questions. Why did the initial discussion of the testing option from September 13th disappear? Who is defined as an employee of the borough? Who is responsible should an employee suffer severe and adverse reaction? And why does the council feel their employees are not capable of making the right decisions? The 7 of you have responsibilities. The decision and the vote that will affect the lives of your employees. Your decisions will linger and impact your employees longer after your term in office ends. Your decisions tonight will impact your employees, their lives, and their careers. Your employees who served for decades of this town will doing what we do best, helping and protecting the residents of this great town. We ask and urge you to please institute a testing policy. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Okay, Matt, thank you for that. Matt, since you spoke for the PBA, gave you unlimited time, I'm going to ask any other speaker to limit themselves to 2 minutes. I'm going to ask this as a courtesy for the other people who might wish to speak so that everyone can get a chance. As to the deliberative process, no, we will not be discussing that, but we can have our borough attorney just define the term employee. So Mr. Sarlo, could you define the term employee?
Right, we're going with whoever's receiving a paycheck. We're not including volunteers. They're covered under the insurance, but they're not employees of the borough. So unless the mayor and council wants to expand on that, for now it is an employee who's receiving compensation for their work on behalf of the borough.
All right. Councilwoman Kaufman, Council President.
Does that include people getting LoSAP?
I would no, they would still be considered the volunteers.
So it's a volunteer fire department and
Yes.
volunteer Rivas.
Yes, still considered they're volunteers. They're not receiving a paycheck from the borough. It's a LoSAP. It's different.
Okay, next up is Jeff Starren. I am not, Jeff, you can go.
Jeff, if you could just keep to 2 minutes, that would be great. I'll give you a hint, and if you need to finish up, of course you should. But if we could allow for other people to speak, that would be great.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I just want to reiterate what Officer Petersky said in his statement. I just would urge you guys to please implement a testing option. There needs to be one. I don't see why there shouldn't be. Every other guideline, basically throughout the state and other departments for the most part have it. I think there should be. My other thing is you're going with people that are mandated and that have to be vaccinated, and with people that were that have contracted COVID. A lot of the majority of the people have been vaccinated, more so than some people that haven't been vaccinated as well. And if there's a testing option, could help out just everybody. That's all I really got to say. I just, back my brothers and sisters at the PBA. I just hope you guys implement the testing option for us. That's it. Have a great night.
All right. Just for the public's benefit, there are 2 options, a religious exemption, and there is a medical exemption. I know that the PBA does not feel this is enough, and I'm not in any way criticizing that. Just for the public's benefit, for the debate, they be aware of that. Next.
Next up is Mike Verrecchia.
Yes, I would just like to
Mike,
show my
and say your
support
name
for
and that you're a River Edge police officer, just for the record.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. Mike Verrecchia, River Edge police officer. I'd just like to show my support for the local. I think testing is the safest way to go because it lets you know definitively if you have something or not. Whereas with the vaccination, you're kind of hoping that you're not. So I just think that the council should reconsider the idea of testing. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Next.
Okay. Matt Petersky again.
Wait, allow others before we go back to Matt? And we will
okay.
absolutely go back to Matt.
There's other officers here.
Represents PBA, but we want to give everyone a chance before we start doing duplicates.
There's other officers here.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, Matt, at your mic, there's other officers?
Yes.
Oh, then
You can say
absolutely.
their name, yeah.
Brenton Preisendorf, River Edge Police Department. I'm addressing you all tonight to voice my opinion that I'm in favor of a weekly testing option instead of a mandate. After working the front lines of this pandemic for almost 2 years, we have all countlessly exposed ourselves to the virus. Our job does not provide us the luxury of working from home or conducting business online. I personally don't believe a vaccine should be forced upon anyone. Now my unvaccinated colleagues are being forced to make a decision, get vaccinated or be suspended without pay starting March 1st and ultimately face termination. Some of these workers have faithfully served the borough for over 20 years. All of them worked tirelessly through the pandemic, causing undue stress to their loved ones, always worrying whether they were bringing the virus home to their families. Now, nearly 2 years later, the job more stressful than ever, they're faced with the following: get the vaccine, regardless of your concerns or worries towards it, or get fired. There are members of this local that have had adverse reactions to the vaccine, and some of them are still dealing with them today. I asked the council, why mandate the vaccine when it does not stop infection or transmission? The most recent COVID outbreak in the department was caused by vaccinated individuals. Nothing in this policy would have stopped that. The only thing that may have stopped it, testing. Many may be unwilling to speak tonight or not truly say how they feel due to promotional interviews being around the corner. The more I thought about that, the more I wanted to speak, because a good boss would speak up. I ask you to reconsider this policy. There is common ground to find. Please allow your loyal employees the right to weekly testing.
Thank you, Matt. Is there, I'm sorry, not Matt, officer, is there anyone else there who'd like to speak?
Yeah, so Officer Edward Blue, I've been with the department for 8 years now, and I'm just hoping you guys really reconsider this mandate. I mean, these guys come to work, they wear a bulletproof vest every day. I really feel like they should make the decision for themselves, and the testing option would be the best option for them. That's it.
All right, thank you. Is there another officer present?
Yes.
Yeah, we got one more.
We got one, yeah.
We have 3 more.
We have 3 more.
Absolutely.
Officer Anthony Roman, River Edge PD. I just want to support the testing option. There's a lot of changes that have come through the pike since we last spoke about it. Daily, there's different things coming out from the CDC as natural immunity has been studied more. You go to CDC website, if you haven't lately, CDC is recognizing how well natural immunity fought against Delta variant and the Omicron variant. It's changing daily, so much so that the UK has lifted all policies. I know we're not the UK, but demographically and population wise, I mean, that could be compared to the New York City metro area, which we're in. Things are changing daily. And the best thing that's going to protect us all is testing, whether vaccinated or unvaccinated. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you. Is there another officer?
Good evening. My name is Officer Ryan Riley, River Edge Police Department. I just want to state for the record that I stand with the PBA, the local, and am in favor of a testing option. Thank you.
Okay, is there another officer? Thank you.
Yeah, Officer Gabe Palucci, River Edge. So, over the past few days, I've searched the internet for articles, for statistics, for data in reference to this meeting. I'm not going to spare you. I'm going to spare you those statements due to the time constraint. However, there is one thing I'd like to say with this. According to a study that I found, fentanyl deaths from 2020 to 2021 in adults ranging from 18 to 45, there were nearly 79,000 deaths, 37,000 in 2020 and 41,000 in 2021. To contrast this, between January 1, 2020 to December 15th of 2021, there were north of 53,000 COVID-related deaths. I'm not trying to minimize any death at all. All death is tragic. One life is too many. However, what is the real tragedy here? What is the true crisis? And again, in relation to this, the COVID death number, the CDC director recently admitted that a large portion of that number had at least 4 comorbidities. So now I ask you, where are you feeling the pressures to issue this mandate? From county executives, from the State House? What about all the variables? Long-term effects of the vaccine, short-term effects of the vaccine? Personally, I'm not sure how one could feel comfortable putting their name behind something that we know very little about. With all due respect, why should the council be in a position to make medical decisions that will impact all of our lives? The council could resign or be voted out of office tomorrow and never have to worry about the effects of this decision, but the employees of this borough will be left to hold the bag. You say you want to gather the data. When it comes to topics we know little about, clearly we consult the experts and people who are well-versed in that field. But for some reason, when it comes to vaccines and mandating medicine,
That's
the council.
in 2 minutes. Feel free to finish up, but we do want to leave room for others to speak.
Okay. When it comes to vaccines and mandating medicine, the council finds it to be within their purview to issue mandates. What experts have been consulted? What data has been collected? Again, in relation to this meeting, you're quick to defer to others in regard to topics we know little of, referencing traffic and safety commissions and advice of the chief. But when it comes to the vaccines, again, the council makes broad sweeping mandates. And I ask you, what happens when the council achieves 100% vaccination status and one of our coworkers has a, quote, breakthrough case? We've seen in the last few weeks that a number of our employees, a number of my coworkers, vaccinated or not, have been diagnosed with COVID. Some having mild symptoms, some having severe symptoms. Coworker of mine ended up in the hospital who happened to be vaccinated. So what's next after we achieve this status?
So that's 3 minutes. I ask you to be courteous and allow someone else to speak.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else there, Matt?
Not with me, Mayor. I'm not sure. I can't speak.
But I believe that we can see there are definitely others on the attendees, so we're going to go to them. And Matt, if you want to come back and do a wrap up as PBA representative, you are welcome to do that.
Next up is Tim Carroll.
Hello, Council. My name is Tim Carroll, 40 Zabriskie Street, Apartment 6B, Hackensack, New Jersey. And I'm one of the volunteers in the fire department. I'm the assistant chief. I'm here tonight in support of the members of the fire department, local PBA, DPW, and all the other employees that this mandate will affect. We're just about, 2 years into this pandemic now? Why all of a sudden are we doing a vaccine now? I think it's pretty much been seen that the vaccine isn't stopping us from getting COVID. So why risk somebody else's health by getting this shot? I've seen many negative reactions at work. I'm a firefighter in the city of Hackensack, and the negative effects that people have gotten transported to the hospital just from a vaccine. So I just wanted to bring that up to you guys, and I hope that you do listen and go with a testing option. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Next up is Charlene.
Hi, everyone. My name is Charlene Fernandez. I live at 2 Colonial Court, Apartment C. After listening to everybody tonight, I really wanted to come on, to listen to what the local had to say, as well as, everyone here, and really urge you guys to think about a testing option. I think what was just said by a person working for the fire department, that after 2 years, to sit here and think about this testing mandate, it's actually, not having a testing at all for a vaccine mandate after 2 years, watching our police department, the DPW, the fire department work tirelessly inside and out of homes, not having the proper protection. And let's be real, I work in a school system as well as in medical, and we did not have anything. And to be told that you're being mandated to take a vaccine, not to have a testing option, when I can say, working in a school system even more now, how important testing options are, not just for the children, but for the people that work there. I would highly consider, I would urging you guys to really think about what you're doing. And I'm here in support for the DPW, the police department, as well as the fire department. Thank you so much for letting me speak.
You're welcome, Charlene.
Next up is McLean Doran.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Officer Duran with the River Edge Police Department. First and foremost, I want to state my unwavering support of the local PBA and my brothers and sister. I think at the end of the day, our job is to protect the community and serve it in the best way we possibly can. And I think the best way we can continue to protect the community that we get up every day and do our best to provide for is a testing option. I personally am a vaccinated individual. I never contracted COVID when I wasn't vaccinated, got vaccinated, and then I was one of the individuals who recently just tested positive in the outbreak. The only way I would have been able to possibly prevent exposing the residents of this town is a testing option. So I think if the goal of the PBA, the goal of the officers here, the goal of the council is to truly protect and serve the residents of our community to the best of our abilities, that testing is the best option for us. I think it gives us an opportunity to stop the exposure before we unwillingly or unknowingly expose our residents. So I urge you to please reconsider this vaccine mandate. And I appreciate you guys allowing me the time and opportunity to speak tonight. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next up is Susan Ginch.
Hi, this is actually Mike. I'm just using Susan's computer.
Okay.
Good, Mike.
So 65 Spring Valley
Mike,
Avenue.
name and address or name and police affiliation.
Right. Mike Ginch, 65 Spring Valley Avenue.
Okay.
No affiliation. So I actually logged in today because I wanted to see what was going on with the traffic issue. And I'm hearing all this now for the first time. I apologize. I'm not keeping up with the events, but I just want to give you a little input. I had a family member who was within 5 days of losing his job. He worked for a large union, I'd rather not say what part, a state agency. And so he got vaccinated against his will. And then somehow 5 days later, the union compelled this entity to change their mind and they didn't require the vaccines. And he's living with that now. So it was very unfortunate for him. So I just have a question, if I may. Does River Edge Council represent the norm for this movement, or is it something you're taking on yourselves kind of uniquely right now?
So this is not a debate forum. This is a comment forum. You're free to make comments for up to 2 minutes.
It's just a simple question. Is this something that you guys are taking on your own, like first?
Mayor, I'll answer it just so we can move it along. There was a recent appellate division case that was published out of the city of Newark, which is exactly on point, where the courts allowed the city of Newark to implement a mandate vaccine. So no, this is not out of the norm. This was actually litigated already in the courts. So to answer your question, there's precedent on this.
You have about 30 more seconds if you want to continue.
Right. Okay. No, that was partially answered. I just want to know if not that it's not allowed, but is it the norm? Is this happening across the state and county, or is it, is this your unique thing at this time? That's all. If you don't want to answer, that's fine. I understand it might not be the mechanism for this. That's fine.
Okay. Thank you for coming and speaking. Next.
Next up is Dominic Pizzanelli.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry about that. I'm Officer Pizzanelli with the River Edge Police Department. I'm just here supporting the PBA tonight in favor of the testing option. I'm not here to provide any statistics or anything like that. I just wanted to make everyone aware of how tight-knit of a group this is. Mayor, council, everybody saw it tonight with the promotions, the turnout we had. And I would hate to see this affect anyone's job status and potentially break up our department a little bit. So I just want you to know how great of a workplace it's been. And I hope a decision like this doesn't change that. So that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, and last is Grace Decker.
No, we'll hear Matt after, if Matt wishes to sum up, which is fine, and he can have 2 minutes to do that. Go ahead, Grace.
It's Patrick Diamond, president of the PBA, also police officer. Sorry, I missed the beginning of the meeting and I just logged on. I caught Mr. Sarlo stating an appellate. Can appellate thing be appealed, Mr. Sarlo, to a higher court?
You're muted.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm talking about the case that's out of the city of Newark.
Yes, and I'm saying if that's appealed, does it go to a higher court?
From my understanding is the defendants, which was the PBA, attempted to appeal it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court denied to hear it.
Okay, so my question is, if this is appealed and overturned on the appellate, and you're forcing employees of the borough to get vaccinated or face termination, and someone has an adverse reaction because of the demands of this mayor and council, who are we suing? Who's recovering damage from that? Or is everyone on the council? Is the boroughs responsible for that?
You're missing my point. My statement was, it's no longer, it's a published case, so the case is over. It's not being appealed to the Supreme Court.
There's zero chance of that happening.
They attempted, from my understanding, they attempted to appeal it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court denied to hear it.
I suggest that we relook at this policy and add a testing option so this borough can be made whole again. That's all I have to say. And I turn the meeting back over to the vice president.
Actually,
if he has a comment.
Yes, he does, I think. But I see that Joe Zemenies and Dennis Griffith have come in. So even though we said this was going to be it, we're going to, and of course, former Councilwoman Ms. Davis. So we'll allow 4 more, and Matt will let you finish up. So why don't we, Michelle, why don't we go to Joe?
Right, Joe, you're unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Joe Zemenies, I am the state delegate, PBA state delegate to the state PBA. I'm here tonight to show my support for the vice president, Matt Petersky's statement that he made. I come to work every day and I trust my brothers and sister with my life in making decisions that could ultimately affect me. I think that everybody in this department has the competence to make the decision as to what's best for them and their family. And I would encourage you all to please reconsider this policy that you're about to vote on tonight.
Okay.
Dennis Griffith.
Yeah, hi, this is Dennis Griffith with the River Police Department. I just want to say I support my brothers and sisters and getting a testing option. And I think the PBA would feel a lot better if the mayor and council had the courtesy to answer the 5 questions that we proposed to you earlier. If you don't want to do it on a public forum, that is fine, but maybe you should have a meeting with the president and the vice president so we get some clarification on how you came to this decision. I just want to thank you for your time.
Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to Mary Davis and then end with Matt, and then we're going to return to the business of the council and the people of River Edge. Mary?
Hi, Mary Davis, 144 Kensington Road, River Edge. I was a former councilwoman, but I am speaking as a resident of River Edge. Our police department is second to none. They put themselves out to this community for the past 2 years while we were in the throes of COVID, protecting themselves. Many of them got sick. As soon as they got out of quarantine, they went back to work to protect us. What's happened now is we were originally told that this vaccination was going to keep us from getting COVID. Then it was, if you get the booster, you won't get COVID. Well, now it's, you will not be that sick if you have to go to the hospital, if you have all three. We need to have these people, the policemen, be able to be tested. And as I forget who said it, I think it might have been Brenton Preisendorf, that people that are tested can stay home because they know they have it. While they're going out there thinking that they don't have it, they are giving the disease to, or the virus to, the rest of the community. I feel that this council needs to stand behind our excellent police department and reconsider. Thank you.
You're welcome. Matt, we're back to you. You're going to sum up. Go ahead, if you wish to
Thank
sum
you.
up. I
Yeah,
assume you.
thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to add a few things. One, to answer a question from one of the residents that was posed. This is not a common practice. We have done our research with surrounding towns, and termination is not number one in their policy. And number two, every town that we've researched in our surrounding areas has a testing option. I'd like to say that, and also that, you know, we're a 24-man department. About 17 of us have contracted COVID, and the majority of us are vaccinated. And we, like I said, the testing would have helped much better because we would have been home. All right. We wouldn't have been able to spread it coming to work on a squad level, and then spreading it to the squad that comes and relieves us, and then the guys coming in on overtime. So testing would alleviate this situation. Again, on behalf of the PBA, myself and President Diamond would like for you to really reconsider this. It's making a life impact change on people's lives and their livelihood and their careers. We know how much you trust us, so just show that for us, please. Thank you.
Okay, could I have a motion to close to the public on for public comments on the agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I think there's one more officer who'd like to be heard, Mr. Lee.
I know, but the hands keep coming up, and I had said first just to Matt, and then I saw Councilwoman Davis. So we're going to end. There is another opportunity. We do open to the public again later. So we're going to do the business, and then there'll be another opportunity if they wish to hang around. Do I have a motion to close to the public?
So moved.
Second.
Oh, please. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstain? Okay. So now we move to item number 10, appointments and personnel changes. Okay. Tom, do I have to read this into the record because it's been published, or can we simply say it was read into the record because it was published?
I would read into the record, Mayor.
All right. All right. Could I have a motion from Council President Kaufman and a second from Councilwoman Bastide after I finish reading this into the record? Appointment and personnel changes. A, approve the salary change of Patrol Officer Michael Schuldis from an annual salary of $122,453 to $132,248 due to performing the duties of a higher rank effective December 19, 2021. Approve the salary increase of Benjamin Mullen, laborer in the Department of Public Works, from an annual laborer 2 step 4 salary of $49,043 to a labor 2 step 5, $51,303 effective January 29, 2022. C, approve the appointment of Councilwoman Mallory as a liaison to the Board of Health effective January 24, 2022. D, approve the appointment of William Sanders as Deputy OEM Coordinator effective January 24, 2022. E, approve the salary increase of Anthony Roman, police officer, from an annual salary of $126,739 to police officer 9th grade, $133,780,000 effective February 7th, 2022. F, approve the salary increase of Renata Sanchez, police officer, from an annual salary of $126,739 to patrol officer 9th grade, $133,780, effective February 7th, 2022. G, approve the salary increase of Austin Berninger, a part-time police dispatcher, from an hourly probation rate of $16.32 to step one, $21.36, effective January 1st, 2022. H, approve the salary increase of Ryan McGee, part-time police dispatcher, from an hourly step 2 rate of $22.12 to step 3, $23.75, effective January 1st, 2022. I, approve the salary increase of Lindsay Byrons, I believe it's pronounced, part-time police dispatcher, from an hourly probation rate of $16.32 to step 1, $21.36, effective January 1st, 2022. J, approve the change in the salary for Mark Abadi, police department, from a lieutenant's salary of $147,827 due to performing the duties of a higher rank to an annual sergeant salary of $136,877, effective January 24th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call.
Councilwoman Bastu,
Yes.
Councilman Kanigo,
Yes.
Council President Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Malalari,
Yes.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen.
Yes.
There are item number 11, monthly reports. There are various reports on record for the public inspection if they choose to do so. Building Department, December 2021, and a year-end report for 2021. Library Board, January. Fire Prevention, October through December of 2021. Fire Department, year-end 2021. Land Use Board, December 2021. Tax Collector, December 2021. Fire Department, revised, company number 1. Okay, we come to ordinances. So first reading ordinance, could I have Council President, not President, Councilman Kanigo and Councilwoman Montesano Cohen move and second a first reading, which is not open to the public, once we have an abstract from our BA. Ordinance 22-2, an ordinance amending the code of the Borough of River Edge, authorizing and encouraging electric vehicle supply, service equipment, EV, SE, and make ready parking spaces.
The state adopted legislation last year establishing electric vehicle charging stations, and it enabled municipalities to adopt a model ordinance in which municipalities are limited to changes involving signage and parking width. So this ordinance will amend the code to allow and encourage electric vehicle charging stations. After introduction, this is to be forwarded to the Land Use Board for comment, and it will not be heard at the next meeting of February 14th, but the following one, to give the Land Use Board sufficient time for review and comment.
This is so moved and
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. This is open for debate. Is there debate? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Bastu,
Yes.
Councilman Kanigo,
Yes.
Council President Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Malalari,
Yes.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen.
Yes.
Okay, could I have a motion after I finish reading it? And we've had an abstract from our BA from Councilwoman Kinsella and a second from Councilwoman Malalari. Ordinance 22-1, an ordinance to fix salary, wage, and compensation of officers and employees of the Borough of River Edge in the County of Bergen in the state of New Jersey for the year 2022, non-contractual. Ms. Apertola.
This ordinance is to establish just the salary ranges of various positions in the borough that do not fall under a collective bargaining agreement. And the ordinance is just for the range. In the consent agenda, there are resolutions that specify the employee and the actual salary that falls within the range.
All right.
So
Um,
moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Does this need a roll call, Mr. Sarlo, or can this be a voice vote?
Voice vote's fine, Mayor.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, we are now open to the public on ordinance 22-1 only. Does any member of the public wish to ask a question or make a comment about ordinance 22-1? Seeing none, could I have a motion from Councilman Canigo and a second from Council President Kaufman to close to the public?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, I mean, not roll call. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? All right, we move to adoption now. Could I have a motion from Councilwoman Bastide and a second from Councilwoman Kinsella to adopt? Oh, I'm sorry. This is open to debate. Is there debate? Hearing none. Could I have a motion from the two members of council to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Bastide,
Yes.
Councilman Canigo,
Yes, sorry.
Council President Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Malalari,
Yes.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen.
Okay, we come to item number 14 on the agenda, resolutions by consent. Could I have a motion from, who have I not called on? I guess Councilwoman Malalari and a second from Councilwoman Montesano Cohen to move resolutions. I'm sorry. Is there any resolution that a council person would like to hold out for a separate vote, or is there any resolution that they would like more information on before we vote?
I think Sean Kim is here to get sworn in.
Yes, but I don't have the swear-in form, so.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
have to apologize for that.
No problem.
In all the commotion, I
Okay.
didn't take it. I apologize.
Okay.
So, and we can't do that until after the resolution anyway.
Gotcha.
Is it Council President Canigo?
Former president.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. My bad.
It's okay. Yeah, I'd like to pull out 2278, the mandatory COVID vaccination policy, please.
Sure. Okay, could I have a motion to move 2263 through 2277 and 2279?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call.
Councilwoman Bastide,
Yes.
Councilman Canigo,
Yes.
Council President Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Malalari,
Yes.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen.
Yes.
Okay, could I have a motion from Council President Kaufman and a second from Councilman Canigo to move 2278 amended mandatory COVID-19 vaccination policy? Once you move it, I will open it for debate or comment, and then we will take a vote. Could it be moved, please?
Move. I didn't hear. Who do you want us to move? Who do you want to move?
Michelle first and you second, Daria.
So moved.
Apologies. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. This is open for debate or comment. Is there debate or comment? Councilman Canigo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, would it be possible at this point to reopen to the public to allow whoever else wants
No.
to speak on this particular policy to speak?
No, we did give sufficient time. We did announce that we were going to come back to the PBA. I believe that we've done our due diligence. It is appropriate. It was reasonable. It was fair. The names I called at the end were the hands that were up. There was certainly plenty of time for everybody to put up their hands. There is another opportunity to open to the public after the vote. And the council certainly understands the position of the PBA, a member of the fire department, and 2 members of the public, I believe. So, but Mr. Sarlo, it's really your call. I think we've been fair and reasonable, and we've fulfilled not just the heart, but the letter of the law, but it's your call.
Mayor, you haven't. You've been more than accommodating on this issue on multiple. However, again, it's not my call from a legal standpoint. You've laid out the procedure, just whether the governing body still wants to hear debate on it.
So does the governing body want to consider Councilman Kanigo's recommendation to open again? This will be, now we'll open 3 times. We'll open again on this issue.
Mayor, I would caution the public, though, that if there's something new to add, by all means add it if you're going to reopen it. But to reiterate what has already been said by other members of the public, I think would not be beneficial at this point. You've heard that. So if there's something different to add, by all means. But if someone's going to get up and say the same thing over again, I think it's become a cumulative effect.
Dario, you made a motion. It's now for the council to decide. Would someone like to second that motion to open the public on 2278? And then, of course, we would take a roll call. Or would the council like to debate Councilman Kanigo's request to open again?
So if we were to reopen, Mayor, would you moderate and not allow repetitive comment and only entertain new comment?
To a certain degree. I mean, I can't imagine that there's going to be new commentary. I think the PBA was thorough in presenting the position. I assume that it's going to be repetitive. But once you reopen it, you're reopening to hear whatever they have to say. I could limit it to a minute, but you're basically just, I mean, I think they were thorough in presenting their position. But it's up to the council. It's your choice. Does anyone want to second Councilman Kanigo's request for a special dispensation to open to the public for 2278? Okay, it has not been seconded. So Councilman Kanigo, would you like to enter into debate or make a comment?
I think at this point, I'd like to reopen it for debate, and I apologize to everybody on the council. Let me say this. This council has worked very hard on this particular policy. We've heard everything the PBA has said. I want to make clear that I am very pro-vaccination. I do not believe that people get sick from vaccination. I don't think the science is there. However, that being said, I do have reservations about this mandatory policy, given that it really doesn't appear to be the norm. And perhaps we need to take a little more time and vet it more. I still think that I would vote for the vaccine policy, but I've heard a lot of questions tonight, and I've heard a lot of things that have given me pause, which is why I say this now. So I would like to urge us to go back to the drawing board and talk about it again. And that's it.
Council President, this is quite a reverse from your previous positions.
I understand that. And again, I reiterate that I am 100% pro-vaccination. I don't want anybody to mistake that. I have been all along. I am also pro-masking. I have been in Borough Hall, and I have seen that not everybody masks all the time. And that is one of the things that gives me pause here. I'm also a little bit, and I will be honest, insulted by some of the comments I've heard. This council has broken their backs to work with the police, to give the police things that they needed, that they wanted, to make sure that we heard the police officers and their concerns at every turn, and to imply that we somehow don't care because we've put forth this vaccine policy, I think that's just wrong. Anybody who's worked with us knows that we care deeply about all of our employees, and we have worked tirelessly to try to make sure that they are as safe as possible. And yes, it is a bit of a reversal. However, there's a lot of people who have talked tonight and who have made points, and I think some of those points were valid. Although, again, I'm going to reiterate, I do not believe that there's the danger that is stated earlier today posed by vaccines. I think the danger is much greater if you do catch COVID. The idea that the only way the police is going to get tested when they have symptoms is if we put in a testing option, I don't see that as a reality. The tests are available and they're free right now, so you can get tested anytime right now. So I don't see that as an issue. That being said, I want to make sure that everybody is heard. I want to make sure that everybody understands that we are really taking this very seriously. We're not dismissing what is being said here. Just because we don't agree with it doesn't mean that we do not listen to you or hear what you're saying. But we have done our research, we have done our homework, we have spent a lot of time with professionals discussing this. All that is not seen by the public in general. And to come here to our meeting and just throw darts at us saying you don't care about us, you haven't done the work, this is different than anybody else does, I don't like that and I don't appreciate that. That having been said, I'm willing to entertain more discussion. And if the council doesn't want to and is ready to vote, I have made my thoughts, I've stated my thoughts, and I probably will vote for the vaccination policy that goes for the vote tonight. But I also believe that we can talk about it more. So that's my 2 cents.
I would like for you to clarify, if you could, Councilman, what exactly do we need more information on? We've spoken to a lawyer who has.
Look, the fact that we're going to win ultimately doesn't necessarily.
No, I'm not saying that, but we've been talking
I
about this
understand
in
that, but that's what
October.
we.
I don't mind. The council's going to decide. I'm just asking, what would be the criteria on which, what should the public expect that we're going to do now that we haven't already done?
I guess ultimately the question that I would want answer is, what is the ultimate goal of this vaccine? I'm sorry, of this vaccination policy, I should say. And perhaps that is where my disconnect is.
You're saying you don't know that?
Well, I'm not quite sure what the vaccination policy is going to end up doing here when we're talking about 5 police officers who are presumably masked. So I'm not quite sure what the
It would be, I believe it's 5 police. I don't know if it's exactly 5. It's a few police officers, yes. It could be 5, it could be 6, and it's a few DPW workers. I'm just trying to frame what you're asking the council to consider. If we're delaying, I'm just asking.
I'm saying we should have further discussion as to why a testing policy cannot achieve the goals that we're trying to achieve. And I'm not sure that a testing policy will achieve those goals, which is why I voted in the first place for the vaccine policy. But if there is something out there that says to us, it is better to go with a mandatory testing policy, and it may be more effective than mandating people to get the vaccine at this point, I think the vaccine saves us from winding up in the hospital and on death's bed and dying. The vaccine was never meant to prevent the disease. It helps not to kill us if we have it, and that's been shown over and over. I can't see how a reasonable person wouldn't want to be vaccinated, because the difference is, yeah, I'll still get it, but it'll be like a mild cold or maybe a heavy cold, but that's about it. Whereas without the vaccine, I'm going to wind up in the hospital and possibly die. So the reason why people should get vaccinated, in my mind, is there's no other option. You need to get vaccinated. That makes sense. However, our municipality enforcing this mandatory vaccine policy, I'm not sure it gets us to anywhere where we're trying to be. So I'm not sure
Okay.
It's not that I'm not sure why we're
Okay.
doing this, but I'm not sure what the practical effect of us doing this will ultimately be. And that is what I think some of the people are raising as their concerns. And I'm not sure that we've fully addressed this. I think we fully vetted it, but I want to make sure that we have, it's a complicated issue. I want to make sure everybody hears that we've given thought to this issue and that we're really trying to do what's right here. We're not trying to make hay for the purpose of making hay. We're thinking about it and we're trying to do the right thing here for everybody. And I believe that every single person on this council has done so and has done so diligently and has been very thoughtful about it. And everybody here who is watching this and who will be watching this in the future should know that we're not taking this very lightly. We've taken this very, very seriously.
Okay. Does any member of council, and you can or cannot, it's up to you, wish to enter into debate or comment? Okay, hearing none. Roll call.
Sorry. Councilwoman Bastide,
Yes.
Councilman Kanigo,
Yes.
Council President Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Malalari,
Yes.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen.
Yes.
Okay, could I have the council president, who's also the finance chair, move resolution 21-80?
Payment of bills at a regular meeting of the mayor and council of the borough of River Edge, county of Bergen, state of New Jersey, held on Jan 24, 2022. Be it resolved that the mayor and council of the borough of River Edge approve the following expenditures. Current fund, $2,017,503.88. Capital fund, $117,739.96. Grant fund, $1,250. Trust other fund, $4,021.60. Payroll fund, $17,384.76. Recreation trust fund, $997.86. So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call.
Councilwoman Bastide,
Yes.
Councilman Kanigo,
Yes.
Council President Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Malalari,
Yes.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen.
Lisa?
Sorry about that. Yes.
All right. Is there any new business? Any old business? Okay, could I have a motion to open to the public on any issue the public wishes to address?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay. Michelle.
So next up is Neil Carroll.
Neil, go ahead. Name and address. Neil, you muted.
It's
Give him a moment.
possible.
Give him a moment. He's, you know.
Okay.
Neil, how about this? We're going to come back to you if you're having technical difficulties. And I'll come back to you right after Patrick, okay? Go ahead.
Okay. 1 second, Patrick.
I just hope Patrick Diamond.
Patrick, you just got to say your name and your affiliation.
Again, Patrick Diamond, President of Local 201 PBA. I hope we can continue working on this policy. I have great concerns that come March, the borough will be in a bad position for public safety. So I hope, Mayor, we can work with the borough administrator and try to get a testing option because March 1st will be here before you know it.
Okay, thank you, Patrick.
And if anyone else would like to speak, just raise your hand and I will allow you to do so.
Seeing none, could I have a motion? Well, wait, let's give Neil a few more seconds to see if he wants to come back in. He might have had a phone or technical issue. So we'll give him another 10, 20 seconds. That's only reasonable.
I don't see him raising his hand again, so.
Okay. All right. Could I have a motion to close to the public?
So moved.
Do I
Second.
have a second? Great. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, any member of council wish to, well, of course, we all congratulated Lieutenant Staros and Lieutenant McGinty, and we're all very, very proud of them. And I want to say we're very, very proud of our police department, our DPW, our contractual workers. We've said that many times. We continue to say that. This has been a lively debate, but it in no way affects our deep respect and appreciation for what our police officers and fire department and all of other the volunteers and contractual workers do. Having said that, does any member of council wish to make a comment? If so, please raise your hand and we will call on you. Michelle?
Just wanted to congratulate the Blackhawks again on their great
Anyone
win.
else? All right. Having said that, could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All right. Thank you very much. Everyone have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.